there's so much food pricing is high, cost of living. Nigeria have never had it so bad like now. So, and we are trying to see where is the problem, where have we got it wrong, and part of where we have gotten wrong is not reminding ourselves the commitment that we have for our country and the space our country has provided for us as a people to exist, to coexist as one people.
Okay.
Now, if we go back that way, then there will be the need for us to bring civil education back to our educational system, where our children will be cultured in the manner of our culture and traditions,
Okay.
and will bring back religion to our curriculum that have been removed, and the history of Nigeria that has been removed, because today Nigerians are becoming more divided because they don't. Most of our children don't know our history. We are lucky to be in primary school at the time we were in primary school, where we are taught the history of Nigeria and how Nigeria comes to be, the leadership and so on and so forth. We in civil education and the rest, we have history in our curriculum, and so we are built in a manner of loving our nation, being committed to the cause of our nation. Today, our children are no longer having these feelings. The younger generations have don't even know it. Our current generations are now different people with different tongues, but yet in one brotherhood, animosity, that pairing of our people will start coming back together, and we start thinking, okay, yes, the Igbo man will appreciate himself as I'm an Igbo man, I'm proud to speak Igbo. The Hausa man will say I'm a proud Hausa man, and the Yoruba man will say I'm a proud Yoruba man. Of course, we are different in our tongues, but we must stand in one brotherhood.
The principles of democracy is shared prosperity, equity, justice, and that's what people are not seeing. So when you begin to sing national anthem, our mother's tongue, when we differ, this and that, and you see two things for you. Now the children in the shanties, look at your own children and my own children who live in an estate, who go to a private school, who are well taken care of. And these are children who don't even know where the next meal comes from. I'm happy you talked about next generation. A next generation that is growing up in an environment that is divided along economic lines. That is the danger. If you're telling me sing, we differ, whatever, that will not make any sense to me who live in the shanty, and for you who live in the estate, it will not make any sense. So it will mean you are telling me to be singing mother's tongue while I don't want to bring the religious lines into it, but I want to look at, because whoever is poor and cannot meet up his need, whatever excuse you bring to that person, he will jump into it.
Yes, true. Haja, let me just tell you something. There's that word, brotherhood. We are careless. We don't even care about how those people in the shanty do exist.
Bring back the principle of justice and equity. We have to implement shared prosperity. Prosperity shouldn't be divided. It shouldn't be meant for one class. That is what has affected us, because people begin to see them. Today there's no middle class. You and I know that. There is no middle class. It's either you're super rich or you're super poor. The people who can fend for themselves some years ago and be able to take care of one or two needs of others are already poor themselves and hopeless in some cases. So how do you begin to speak brotherhood? I thought that the foundation that is going to be laid is the one that ensures there's economic prosperity for all. A system that encourages people to grow economically, that if I start a job, if I'm a graduate today, I should be able to get a job without much hassle. I should be able to grow, proportionately.
Yeah, we are talking about the problem. And we have identified the problem. Fortunately, the problem has been identified.
But bringing a new old national anthem is not a solution.
No, you see, let me tell you one thing with psychology.
Okay.
If, there's a machine called lie testing machine.
Okay.
If you are lying consistently and you believe in your lies and you keep lying, that testing machine cannot identify it. So over time of singing this national anthem will generate a new ideology, a new cause in our mind. It will bring a new mentality out from us that this person that is in this shanty, of course, is my brother, and we stand in the same need. Why shouldn't I assist him? Why should I be thinking of how to create something that will alleviate his suffering. For instance, China. China just decided that we are going to pull out a so amount of people from poverty to become wealthy. And they had that as a program. And today, that they have achieved that, pulling out many of their citizens out of poverty to wealth. It is possible in this country, but we cannot operate in a vague atmosphere. We must create a foundation where we can build upon. And like I said, today, as it is today, Nigerians don't feel as if they are Nigerians. Nigerians don't feel for anybody. When the North it was suffering from Boko Haram attack and other things, the Southeast was careless about it. The Southwest doesn't care. The Hausa people, the Northern people, let them kill themselves, not knowing that it will have a ripple effect. Now the Northeast is grappling with the insecurity. The Southwest equally is grappling with insecurity. So it is like what Obama said, that the relationship between America and Nigeria is interwoven. Whatever affects America trickles down to affect Nigeria, and whatever affects Nigeria trickles down to affect America. And that was why the program, Nigeria was programmed to divide in 2015. But because of the realization that this is not going to work out, it's better we keep this country together no matter how bad it is. And the fallout will be so huge it will become a catastrophe, in the global catastrophe. Now, let's see how we can manage Nigerian situation so that they continue the way they are going. Even though they are moving on one leg, let's keep moving them on that one leg so that the globe will have peace. Now, Nigeria, as it is, like I said, is moving on one leg.
Okay. One leg.
One leg now.
Okay. You know those days we used to sing Mary has a one leg.
No,
one leg.
Yes.
Okay.
So now we are trying to make sure that we balance. We start curing that amputated leg. We start building it so that it will come and stand with its two legs again.
Okay.
And the way we can do that is over time reminding ourselves of whom we are, what we represent, where we are coming from, and where we are going to, and the kind of nation we want to bequeath to our younger ones and the coming generation. And this national anthem, like I said, remind us that, okay, we are going to give a banner that is not stained, and we are going to balance ourselves in equity and justice, and we cannot support the oppressed, nor work for or not allow oppression to exist in Nigeria. So these are the wordings that will keep echoing and reminding us of the need for us to actually serve this country selflessness. Now, as it is, the new former national
there's a class struggle that you've not been able to address until we address the class struggle, because what we have today is not obtainable. It is not sustainable.
The class struggle.
And a mere learning and singing of a national anthem will not do justice to that.
Look, Hajia.
But let me come to the excitement that you talked about. Yeah, you did say that people are excited with freedom, and they got carried away by the excitement. And that will be what people will say has created room for groups. You know, the IPOP group, the OPC, the, insurgency. Did we miss it when we say democracy means freedom of speech? We created a vacuum for people to say, I can express my, feelings in whichever way I want to.
Yes, it's like a prisoner. Suddenly, you give him his freedom. He doesn't know where to start from. That was how Nigeria found itself. A situation where we are coming from the military regime, where, of course, the economy was very fantastic because the military, they have their own way of marshalling everything they want to achieve. But now, with this kind of democracy, even the president, when he has his own ideas or his own plans, he cannot achieve them because it must go through the legislators. And now legislators, depending on what they represent and what they want, even no matter how lofty, beautiful a program is, They have already opened that aspect of Ghana must go to them. Without Ghana must go, nothing works in Nigeria. And I would like to say Obasanjo, with all due respect to him, shouted about that, actually was against Ghana must go from the onset. Publicly he was against it, but underground he was giving it. So that is the root cause of our problem today.
He's the promoter of Ghana must go, isn't it?
Well, if you like, we
because we started hearing Ghana must go during his own time. Or the pioneer of Ghana must go.
You can call him the pioneer or the promoter of Ghana must go. Whatever it is, it started during his own time. And up till today, that is one of our major problems, that we cannot achieve anything in this country without the distribution of Ghana must go. So people have learned not to be patriotic, not to be selfless service, not to be giving selfless service to the nation, but rather on the patronage of Ghana must go before you can achieve anything. Now, this aspect of politics in Nigeria has actually brought about all the hue and cry we are suffering from this country today. So, like I said, it is now. We have to go back to our drawing board. We really have to chart a new course for our country. All that we are doing now has absolutely shown us that it's a failure. Nigeria is not progressing. Since democracy, there is never a time you will say the current government is better than the previous government. It is always, people will always be referring to previous government as a bit better. Today, if Buhari wants to come back to Nigeria, you will see a lot of people come to vote for him, because in Buhari's regime we never had it this bad, and in Jonathan's regime we never had it as bad as Buhari's regime, and in Obasanjo's regime we never had it as bad as Yar'Adua regime. And in
25 years of democracy, a quarter of a century. How would you describe the journey so far? Has it been smooth? Has it been rough? Or is it a mixed grill for you?
Yes. Yes, no. These are some contradictory answers sometimes.
Okay.
You see, the problem with democracy in Nigeria is understanding the concept itself. What we define as democracy in Nigeria is a civil rule. Civil rule ruled by civilians, forgetting the rules governing the democracy. We sometimes tend to mix the two together, democracy and development. These two concepts, they're supposed to go together. But in Nigeria, to some extent, the two are not together.
So we took the civil rule and left the development. That's what you are saying.
Yes. The essence of the governance generally is for the betterment of the people. You know, to improve the living standard or the lives of the citizens. Unfortunately, when I joined, my colleague is talking almost a similar thing than what we are saying. 25 years. I think the assessment is not all about whether we follow the tenet of democracy or not. The assessment is, do we really achieve the essence of the governance? That is the most important thing. Democracy might be immaterial if people are being impoverished, people are swallowing in poverty.
Okay. Let me just jump in here. What is the thinking of the man on the streets? No, the everyday. I don't want the everyday Nigeria. What is the thinking of that person right now? I want us to paint a scenario of what is the thinking of the man on the street right now.
Yes, that is what I'm saying. I'm just building a background because I joined the discussion on it. You see, the ordinary person on the street, or a common Nigerians, what is after its development, irrespective of whether military is ruling, you know, they were happy the military took over because of the failure of the civilians to deliver, you know, in other words, to improve their livelihood. So they don't care. Let it be any other government.
But Mr. Hassan Abdul, who is to be blamed for that?
Yes, you see, you believe to portion a blame to some extent it's not difficult. I mean, it is difficult to say people are to be blamed because the purely issue of governance worldwide is run by elites. Elites, you know, they could be academic elites even, who have the knowledge, who have acquired, but we know there are political elites who usually we call them politicians. They contest, they run a political party system. I mean, they run a party system, they contested and they win. The electorate might not really be, they might be ignorant of the essence of the democracy itself. So sometimes you don't blame them because of that knowledge of the democracy. We have been hearing that word, nation democracy, nothing. You can't be nothing things for more than 10 years, and people are still don't understand. So what I'm trying to say, it is difficult to say we have achieved. That's why I say yes, no. In the area of development, honestly, to my view, we have not really achieved any significant move as far as democracy.
The fact that we have had uninterrupted.
Yes,
uninterrupted, you know, for 25 years.
But
no interruptions.
That issue of interruption, that is the beauty of the whole thing. We have never had a military. That's why I said, my brother here has said it already. We have never had any military intervention for a long time. Even attempt, there wasn't. So that would have been an opportunity to look at what they call the difficulties. So I think from the panoramic view, this is what I can say we have achieved as far as democracy. And it's in my assessment. If we are going in the nitty-gritty of the whole thing, it's very good. This 1 hour is not enough to analyze, you know, all these lapses.
No, but you joined late, so we started 2 hours ago. But let me ask the two of you. He started this discussion with saying that we are the most done. You said that Nigerians do not even understand the concept of democracy. So 25 years down the line, whose responsibility is it to begin to teach people to understand the concept of democracy? That's one. Two, regular engagement with the electorate on issues. There is debate. There is, you know, need for accountability. And people are always, you know. And three, we ourselves are very selfish. So I'll start from Dr. Ali before I go to you.
Well, your question is just spelling out the actual problem of the nation. We are suspicious of one another. The Hausa man feels that the Igbo man is not doing his bit, and the Yoruba man is saying that. That's why you see when Tinubu came, he said Emi Lokon, and now the whole Yoruba people are saying Iwa Lokon. It is our own turn now. So you can harvest and do whatever you want to do. You don't expect anybody to antagonize you. You don't expect any challenge from anybody from any quarter because of what you said. They will say, when your own brother Buhari was there, what did you do? So, and you cannot continue running this country like this. We have to take a leaf from being a Yoruba person, from being an Igbo person, from being a Hausa person to become Nigerians. And we can only become Nigeria or become Nigerians when we actually go back to our classroom and start teaching ourselves and our children how to become true Nigerians. Because as it is now, everybody is for himself in this country and for his people. And so if democracy has taught us anything, democracy has taught us how to become divided more than to become a united nation. And that is where we are having our problems today. That's why the center is no longer holding. And I will quite say at this juncture that the kind of democracy we are practicing in Nigeria is not good for this country. Okay.
Before we begin to look for our own form, let me go back to Dr. Hassan. Whose responsibility is it to begin to teach us that kind of democracy, what democracy is all about? That democracy is not a civil rule, but it is about development. So whose responsibility? Is it bringing up an old, new national anthem to teach us that?
No, national anthem is another thing. That one is just one of the...
distractions.
Yes, distractions. You see, the problem nobody can teach people democracy. It's not something, you cannot learn democracy in a classroom. If you look at the democracy in the actual practice, you can't say people should learn only in the classroom. Because it's all about the people. But corrupted, they are not used to all sort of party politics and what have you. So they will learn through this. That's what they call nursing democracy at that day. That we are learning. We are not learning in the classroom, but we are learning by experience. Unfortunately, the responsibility is more of collective. I can't say so because just how the doctor said, democracy, usually the major captains of the democracy are elites, as I have said, because then is that issue of patriotism. Of course, you didn't ask me about that issue, but I must say it.
I was coming to that because I was coming to the people themselves, and I want to cite an example. Yes. In the last elections, you know, we saw people who are just Okada, you know, drivers. We saw people who are not elitists at all, and they got into the system, and today they have even lost touch with the constituency, you know, that brought them, you know, to power. So it means there's something wrong. There's a disconnection somewhere. People who are down the ladder wants to become elitists. So their own thinking of democracy is I win an election and I belong to the elitist group and to hell with my constituency. Isn't it?
Yes, you have said it, but the way I'm looking at it, you asked me a question on who is responsible.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to prolong it. I just want to pick it, you know, a bit. You see, you can be educated, but you are not enlightened. And you can be alive, they are enlightened. If I can cite an example of Tanko Yakase. In the early 1950s, Tanko Yakase was one of the frontline politicians. And let me tell you, he has never been to a formal set of school. He has just picked, even the English he speaks English. But because of that interaction and involvement in politics, up to today, if not because of the age, he's one of the best prominent politicians that you can even count among Nigerians. But that apart, that's why I said we need education, and at the same time, we need enlightenment. People are not really enlightened. That's why you can go and give them 500, you know, 1,000 with a spaghetti, and to go and vote for somebody who will now spend 4 years, and they will never see him until when the next election comes. If we are enlightened and we understand, look, this is what democracy, these people are going to represent me, as we have started now talking about it. I'm sending you, and I'm sending you with a purpose. I'm not sending you to go and enrich yourself. I'm sending you to do a job for me, and you must be accountable, you know, and you must be responsible for whatever happens. Capitalize on that, you know, throughout this period. They have been making that mistakes. This government is better than the other. This government is better because there was no focus, as the doctor said. You understand? On what is the purpose of that governance? Why do we elect people? What do you expect them to do? How can you hold these people responsible or accountable, you know, for the damages? So this is the problem. You have to understand this concept a lot. I mean, in the first place.
Yes.
Before you go into the nitty-gritty
no,
of whether
we've been talking about accountability, holding people. Yeah, but that's have been on for a very long time. The question is whose responsibility it is, because the electorate themselves don't understand their own powers themselves. And most of them, because of the level of poverty that they have found themselves, the thinking is not elections that are not credible. Because President Yar'Adua himself said the elections that brought me to power are not credible. And he took time, you know, to try to sanitize the system. So if we have elections that are not credible, we have money politics here and there. Do you think we're going to get it right?
Yes, the issue, it is difficult actually, but that word free and fair. Free, it has to do with the freedom to choose the leader. That's what is called free. Fairness, one is purely elitist, the other one is not, to some extent. People can be given, you know, or they have been given freedom to choose to vote, in other words. You go, you vote freely. Nobody will intimidate you on how to vote. But the outcome is that is where the problem is, that fairness. That concept has been, of course, I don't expect anything less than that thing to come from him. He has been part of these things. I know him.
He's been part of the struggle.
The struggles, I know him. We worked, I covered him until 1992. I was a young reporter, you know, me and Eric, they failed election, they will not complain. But we know there's a problem, and we accept there's a problem. So what do you expect him? The concept of democracy is different from any other democracy in the world because of our attitude. You know, sometimes most of these things that we are talking about, we created them ourselves. I don't think the president now can tell you that he has not spent money, you know, or he has not spent money for others to get into power. Nobody can claim that. It means he's saying he has failed the election. So to me, that word he has said it is more a political, and it's normal. But let me be very frank with you. Nigerians are watching, and I believe time will come when we that have been patient, that are always patient with the kind of this attitude of the politicians, our children, they will not accept it. We will have a new kind of system. You may spend the money, but you can't even go and face the people. Because look at the more content nature of the politics. People are becoming almost with power, no power. You know, they will find a voice. And there are so many factors responsible to that. That's why I said it's a broad aspect. There's nothing that this government or this politics, this democracy brought apart from massive corruption, polarization of these sentiments, you know, religion, tribal, although it's an inherent, right from the early days of Nigeria. I mean, the first democratic route in Nigeria we have had, that was in the early 60s. But we have not had changes. It's the same trend. That is at the lower level. At the highest level, there's nothing like tribalism or religion, because you still see them together. People are killing themselves at the lower level.
Okay.
So these are some
But
of the
still staying with you, is there anywhere in the world where there is free and fair elections from what we've been saying?
Yes, free and fair is relative. You see, it all depends on the kind of system in place. A country that has a law and a country that abides by rules and regulations. I mean, the country that obey law. You mean what I mean by law? They have a law and they obey law. Even these francophone nations that you see, if you go to Niger Republic, when you say yes, it means yes, and nobody is above the law. But I don't have to tell you, there's so many people, you know, politicians today, no matter how offense they committed, even this electoral fraud, we see how it ended up in the court. And for example, because America is always our focus.
Yeah.
We learn from them because we are practicing the liberal democracy. But you can't go to America and say you contest election, you maneuver your ways, you know, you give people's money and you emerge a winner. Somebody take you to court and say, okay, you go free. It's not done. So you see, it depends on the country and what they respect as a law. Of course, it involves manipulations, you know, in politics. But there is a limit to which you can manipulate election. You know, you cannot cheat, you cannot override the power of the people, you know, and rule over them. So Nigerian politics, the fairness, as you have said, it depends on the country. We have seen countries where there are maneuvers here and there, but they still maintain. But here you maneuver and you go free.
Okay.
It just ended in the
so it's because there are no rules and there are no laws to be obeyed, and everybody is above the law.
No, we don't follow the rules.
Okay, we don't follow the rest.
Yes.
But let me come to Dr. Aliyu. Dr. Aliyu, you started saying that the kind of democracy that we have is so crude. You know, the former president, Obasanjo, has also said it, that we need to begin to think about another kind of democracy, not the one that we have. And just recently, people are clamoring for regional governments to come back. And, if you listen to President Jonathan yesterday, he is advising and cautioning against going back to regionalism and religious politics and all of that. Where do we find a balance? The one that works for us. Today, we said this democracy is not working. People say go to regional government. This one say go this way. Where
this that are cost-bearing to the economy of the country, and to even service them has become a huge problem today. We are talking about 60,000 naira. The government is proposing 60,000 naira minimum. 62,000 minimum wage, and you have a people that call themselves legislators. Just one aspect of their cost, their vehicle, for 150 million naira. If you want to divide that 150 million naira by the 62,000 naira for an individual as a wage, it will have to take so many years for someone to have achieved that 150 million. And yet, these are the people that are saying 62 million naira is too high. How much is their takeaway per their sitting allowances, wardrobe allowances, newspaper allowances, all these allowances accrued? So I think the best form of government for us as a country will have been parliamentary, where we have very few people to contain, and then we can continue without actually going regional. We can have a parliamentary system without actually going regional, and then cut the cost of sitting people will not be permanent as we need to make costs for the democracy not to be too attractive again for people that will be going killing themselves, stealing money just to fight for an election. So if the center is just trimmed down and then we are having a parliamentary system, we don't need to go to such elections. The head of a party can emerge. Just what is happening like in some other democracy. As soon as this person goes, we know the leader of the party, that of the ruling party, can emerge or something. So we need to actually trim the cost of this democracy. It's too expensive for the country. And then it's not giving us the results that we are looking for. It's rather making our politicians become more corrupt, endemic in corruption, and they even lack any sense of integrity. You could see a governor in this state telling us without shame or fear that all the elective offices in his state, he sponsored them to become governor, to be
and nobody is raising any concern.
To become legislators. That all the assemblymen in his state, he sponsored their. So where did he get such money from? A governor the state money becomes the governor's money. He has absolute control. No accountability. He's not accountable to anybody. The governor sees the money of the state as his own pocket money, and he does what he wants with it. And if not a country like Nigeria, how will an ex-governor who is a minister come out to tell us in the public, serving minister of a government, that he's one that sponsor everybody in the state to become governor, to become a deputy governor, to become legislators, state assemblies members, and nobody is saying, where is the EFCC? Where are these anti-corrupt bodies? I mean, is there any? That is what my colleague is saying here. There are some. It appears that some people that are actually above the law.
Yeah.
The laws of Nigerians are not working. The judiciary has absolutely failed this country, and the civil society is dead because they have to make you hunger. And because of too much hunger in the nation, the civil society now, they have become beggars. They run around the politicians to see if they can get one naira or 2 naira, and nobody is saying anything. So the system is just docile. Everybody is looking for only God knows when anyone can react. And so that's why you see this insecurity and so many ills coming in the country without any check or balance. Imagine a country like Nigeria in this civilization have 1,000. Sorry, I'm just digressing a little. Have 1,050 porous borders. No politician, no president, no anybody in the system, in the government that thinks that the country like this is very vulnerable. You have 1,050 open borders. Your economic activities cannot be sustainable. Your security activities cannot be sustainable, and that's where you get influx of foreigners, influx of arms and ammunition, and they are just like just looking at it without thinking Nigeria is in danger. And so you like to let me borrow his word that you now see as they are not patriotic. Nobody is thinking of the nation.
Yeah.
All they are busy is their family, their pockets, and it's, the government just came on board. They spent over $80 billion in travel and all that. People are dying, and you are traveling. You and your family are just spending money, and nobody is saying anybody. Nobody is checking anybody. The legislators are not doing their oversight duties again. They don't check the executive from their SSs because the executive have allowed them to continue their SSs. They do budget padding. When the executive brings his money, this is what I want to spend. The legislators say, hey, let me put my own. They will add their own the way they like it, and nobody is saying anything about it because it's obvious that if I'm a thief and you are a thief, you cannot challenge me as a thief that I'm a thief because you are a thief, I'm a thief, so we are all good in thief, in thieving. So this is what is happening in the nation today. Very
and
bad.
For us to stop the thieving that is going on, whichever level it is. But gentlemen, we'll take a short break at this point, and when we return, I'll be asking Hassan Abdul exactly what do we do to ensure that people are not above the law and that people obey the law. When we come back. Welcome back. It's still our special democracy edition, and I still have my two gentlemen in the house. I have Dr. Sani Aliu and also Hassan Abdul, who is a public analyst and, of course, a journalist. So still, let me come back to you. Before the break, I was in you, and I'm still coming back to you. Now, money politics has been our burn on this country. It has been the source of all our frustrations, all our problems. But aside from that, the primitive accumulation of wealth has also, dealt a blow on our collective, interest and progress. Today, you have the insurgency ravaging every part of the country, from the northeast to the northwest. Just last week, about 62 farmers have been killed on their farms. And so we are expecting another food crisis any moment from now. And this is in isolation to the killings that happen every day, pocket of killing here and there. And the lawlessness itself has also contributed to that. I was talking to a friend last week. He said every governor in the state has his own bandit, whether we like it or not. And they operate on a different scale. Some of them are their friends. Some of them are people they've had one or two things to do with. And some of them are their political talks that they've used to win elections. So how do we bring sanity back to the system and remove this money politics that we're in today?
Yes, you have asked so many questions in one. But let me say it that, look, the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria today is a very, very terrible situation. I don't think there is any country that can survive, with this kind of lawlessness and massive corruption. Of course, these two key words are the characteristics or the features of a failed state, any failed state. When a state becomes lawlessness, people no longer respect law and order, especially people at the top. What do you expect? People start killing themselves. We have had an example about this just of recent, the Rwanda issue, which is a very typical example of a country that will run. But today, Rwanda, is surviving better than most African countries. But look at their antecedents, look at their experience. War has virtually ravaged or killed more than 65% to 70% of the citizens of Rwanda. These people that are there are the people that have flown out of the country and later came back to reform their country. You see, as I've just said earlier, it's an attitude that we must change. And this must come from the elite. Once you don't have, you are occupying a position, you don't see that position as a position to serve the people. That patriotism or love in Nigeria. You see Nigeria first before you. When we were small boys, I knew this national anthem that they brought back. We love. As we are singing the national anthem, it increases the love of the country. But these days, it's just a mere any other music that you see. People even don't care about it because nobody is willing to serve the country. People think of themselves first. And that is what cut across all the sectors, judiciary, legislatures, and all these three arms of government. They are built on this ground. Dr. Sani has said it when he's talking about this parliamentary. Of course, if I have an independent opinion at a forum, I told, look, whether a parliamentary or presidential, whichever one we practice, the situation will remain the same, much as long as that corruption is there. Of course, there are other advantages of the parliamentary because it was the first system we practiced in Nigeria, which is based on regionalism, and you can practice parliamentary without regionalizing the government, just like India, Venezuela, and quite a number of them. So you can, but the issue is law, supremacy of law. When their law is weak, when people don't see law, as things to guide the country, rather than just to punish others and favor others, then it's unfortunate. And this is purely an elitist affair. You don't expect me as a common man, you understand, who believe in democracy, so much in democracy, supporting a candidate. And that candidate surrender me to all sorts of crises, while he keeps his children at home, take them abroad for studies, and send me as a talk. You understand? Just to go and kill myself. These are the kind of things that we have to change. It is difficult. It's not a one-day system, and it's a collective thing. But it must come from the elite. People at the government must see the politicians, must see themselves as... I keep wondering, when the president is talking about Nigeria is our country, we have to survive it, we have to tolerate it, we have to sacrifice, there's no country we have apart from... But yet, you can see the stratification. 90% of Nigerians are crying. He's not feeling what we're feeling. So let us just be honest to ourselves. Instead of that sacrifice, in Nigeria Republic, the man who has taken over the government. The people are pleased with him now. Look at how he introduced policies here, introduced the subsidy. You know, he subsidized so many things, making the life of the common man. At least he's a military man. He's a dictator. But what the common man wants is the good governance.
It's food on his table.
Food on his table. So the politicians have to see, they have to see, look, we are coming to power for the people and for the country, not for ourselves. So it is difficult to say this is the roadmap, you know, to the law and something. You know, we have to find a way to change our attitude. I'm afraid with the kind of thing that is going, this governance that we see, most of our politicians, many of them, I'm not praying, they will not survive this system. Because so many of our communities are now in crisis. People are being killed. So how can you represent people if you don't visit them? Just of recent, I'm telling you, more than 35 people were killed in some of my community, neighborhood my community, in here now. And the man we called for him to go and meet with people, he said, no, the representative, I mean, the member representing the constituents. He said, no, the last time he visited that place was almost 6 months ago. He spent all his time in Abuja and representing that community.
But he will go there for election, isn't it?
And he go there
he will visit for election.
So you see, anarchy. Anarchy is the major threat to any democratic in the world.
So we are faced with many threats.
So we have to enforce law and order because the law has already been in existence and we have been playing with it. So our politicians must change. Their attitude must change.
Okay. Dr. Sani, where do we find leaders who will be patriotic, who will drive the law and order, who will bring sanity to the system? Nigeria is a model of democracy in Africa today. So we will not be advocating for military rule. We will not wish for that. We will not pray for that. But we also have to lead by, the leadership must lead by example. And some of the issues that he raised, lawlessness, massive corruption, these are the issues that need to be addressed. But where do we get those leaders? In 2015, we had a one-time general that was fed by all. He became the president. And everybody was like, no, law and order has returned. Discipline has returned. And the mantra of change was all over. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. And 6 months down the line, everybody went back to business as usual. So it means something is wrong somewhere. Where do we get those kind of people? Where are we going to source them from?
I remember quite vividly well Mahama of Ghana when he was lamenting after he lost his election during his acceptance letter. He made mention of him choosing somebody that if he had followed the way of his predecessor, to keep people around him that could challenge and remind him of the needs and why he is the president of Ghana, he wouldn't have failed. So leaders,
but that's too late.
It's already too late for him. He was lamenting that if given chance, today he's on board again, trying to see if he can come back. If given chance, he will not go the same way he has gone. The problem is not per se the president. The problem is the people the president surrounds himself with, the yes sir people. Those people who are there, we are waiting for such opportunity to steal, to pilferate. People who are there to enrich themselves, who don't care about.
But that is because the system encouraged them to steal. Because if the system had not encouraged you to steal, you will not have anything to steal.
That is another. Let's say from Abdul, there is no enforcement of law. Look at what is happening between the cat and mouse game between EFCC and Bello of Kogi State. They are fooling themselves. They think they are fooling Nigerians. If Bello didn't come to book, I will resign. Let him resign. We are waiting for him to resign. He has not resigned up to now because up to now he couldn't bring Bello on board. So who is fooling who in this country? You see, the judiciary are having a lot. This check and unchecked is a deliberate projection, so that, like I said earlier, so that they will have their feel, all of them. the patronage from the executive to the legislators to the judiciary is like what Elijah Abdul said, that the elite at that top, they are one. They are one in all this crime. They are one in corruption. They are one in. They unify themselves up there because all they are interested in is how to enrich themselves, not the country, not to give service to the country. And unfortunately, where these leaders are found in the civil education. They are found in the in the culture, in the maintenance of our culture and upholding of our norms and values of the society, which deliberately the leadership has exhumed that from the system of our education through giving patronage of giving you money to go and cast your vote, and you win your election, you are thinking of how to recoup your money, and not to rescue or revive the economy, but how to recoup your money. Like a lot of people are saying, there's never a time that any president of Nigeria has spent so much money to win the presidency like this current administration. And so Nigerians again are alleging that the man is trying to recoup his money, and that's why these subsidies that are removed today, we don't feel it anywhere. When you say you remove subsidy, let's see the investment you are doing with that money somewhere, so that Nigeria will have rest of mind. Okay, we are buying fuel at this cost, but there is agricultural revolution going on. The implements, the works are, the fields are there, people are there, youth are engaged, they are working. And by the next 3, 4, 5, 10 years, Nigeria will be full sustaining nation. Any nation that cannot sustain itself with food is a poor nation. And Nigeria is far, 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 far away from being a poor nation. If only we have purposeful leadership, a directional leadership. Look at what is happening in Nigeria today. Even though we are not too sure of it, because Nigerians today, they can bring a lofty program only to, from the back again, they'll pack all the things. We have seen Operation Feed the Nation. When Obasanjo brought Operation Feed the Nation, we are very happy that there's Operation Feed the Nation. We didn't know that Operation Feed the Nation means Obasanjo Farms Nigeria, until he left the office with all the implements he imported for Nigeria, Operation Feed the Nation, and send it to his farm as Obasanjo Farms Nigeria Limited. So you began to wonder if these people are truly Nigerians. Where are they coming from? Are they imported from outside? When you are asking where do we get leadership from, we cannot get leadership from anywhere outside except Nigerians. So if our leaders are so unpatriotic, and we have seen how they enrich themselves and get away with it, nobody is saying anything. Go to Obasanjo's house, go and see the kind of house Obasanjo is living. Go to our ex-president's house, go and see the kind of affluence they are. Nobody is checking them. Have you ever had any EFCC in anything since the beginning of democracy challenge or interrogate or investigated any president before? No. The system is so designed for them to get away with their corruption, and Nigerians citizens continue in their penury and continue. What is happening today is that the danger here that Abdul is citing out is that the way the country is going today, the level of killings and insecurity that's pervading Nigeria today, we may not have Nigeria for tomorrow for anybody to come and lead. Because the moment the youth are angry, about 50%, I'm not right, I may be wrong, but I'm sure Nigeria have over 50% to 60% youths. And that is the vertebral bane of Nigerian today. And so if these youths realizes, like I said in 2001, that the moment the Nigerian youth realize there's gain in criminality, they will be out there doing it. When it started in Lagos, during Obasanjo, OPC was throwing egg and it would bomb. become like bomb in some places, in some part of Lagos. And Obasanjo was celebrating. Then he would give Gani Adam presidential jet to come to the villa, and they drink a presidential coffee with him. And he equally sponsored the guy to go back to school, and so on and so forth. Today is the Are Onakakankafu celebrating a criminal and gave him Are Onakakankafu in this nation as of Yoruba people. It means criminals have a place in the society. So they are being celebrated.
And they are calling the shot.
And they are calling the shot. And that is what gave birth to the Niger Delta militancy. And when we saw President Jonathan equally recognizing the militant generals.
Yaradua first.
Yaradua gave them what is called amnesty. But Jonathan was actually acknowledge them as militant generals.
Okay.
And drinking and coffee with them again. And in 2201, I said that if the ordinary northerner realize there's gains and they are being celebrated in this manner, they will be going around with bombs, carrying out suicide. And it has happened in this country. 2001, I said this, and it has happened in this country. And today I'm saying it here clearly. If they did not do something about this thing, no politician can ever go back to his community again. And what if they are not careful, they will be slaughtering politicians on the street of Nigeria.
Okay.
You cannot use a state-of-the-art vehicle in this country again, because the people are already getting angry. If the president is disconnected with what is happening with the society, we are here to tell the president that Nigerians are very angry. This 150 million naira you use in buying vehicles to these people, Nigerians youth are not happy about it. You better do something about it before it becomes a situation where there will be anarchy, where you as the president can no longer control this country. It's the truth.
All right. So we are hitting a point of no return. And the earlier we do something about it, the better. But I'll still go back to finding the purposeful leadership and the kind of people. He said we cannot import people from the space. We have to find people around. When Ruto went to the U.S., he told the world that I was being sponsored by my friends. I didn't take state money to do that. That's President Ruto of Kenya, his last trip to the U.S. When the man in Senegal, the young man in Senegal, took over office, he said, I don't want people to stand at the airport and wait for me to greet me when I'm coming back. I want to travel very light and simple, and I want to come back quietly to face my work. He said, when people go and wait for you and parade for you, it means, they're going to just waste some office hours and spend the whole day doing nothing. But coming back, purposeful leadership. Each time the president said, I feel your pain, I want the poor to breathe. You see that in the speech, but you don't see in reality. It means that whoever writes the speech to the president is trying to reflect the mood of the nation. That's not his fault that the president is still disconnected after saying, I feel your pain. What we did with subsidy, we said there's a cabal. That's what we've been hearing. But we created another cabal when we give so much money to the governors in terms of, federal allocation. And here they are saying they cannot pay 62,000 naira. And people say, but you have more allocation that you had here. So we created another cabal, another level of senior cabal of subsidy. But my question is this. If you pick somebody on the street today, a regular Nigerian, and you give him any political office, you'll be amazed with the recklessness and the massive stealing that he will do. And that boils down to the same system that we talked about, the system. So who is going to correct the system? The systemic failure that has encouraged lawlessness, has encouraged massive corruption, has encouraged brutality and the killings that we see. Who is going to affect that system?
Honestly, the questions you have raised, you have just repeated the questions. We are the actors of the democracy. We are citizens of the country. Nobody is an alien, just like how Dr. Simon said. We are all Nigerians. It's an attitude that we must change. And,
but people don't want to change attitude. My concern is this. People don't want to change attitude. They don't want to change attitude.
I'm coming. You see, you are trying to be, let me just answer you the way you ask. Look at the system itself. You see, it is deliberate. Nigerian democracy was created in this way. Every day we keep amending laws, and the elites who are there, they are amending laws to ensure or perpetuate in the governance. That's why you will find in the political or in the party system, in any states in the whole world, there's not any country that will sit down, the government, they say, okay, this is what we feel should be done. You understand, for the political parties. We have seen what Babangida did. He created the political parties. After he left, we have seen, it's not the people. This country we are talking about, the people create the political parties. They form the political parties. Already there is a guideline rules to form the political party. But in Nigeria, there's so much interference because the system is the elites, the political elites are the same in nature. How would you expect somebody, an ordinary man, no matter how competent person he might be, you understand, he wants to be a member, contest, because you can vote and vote for, you are fundamental human right to participate in politics, whether you are upper or lower. But the constraint is the parties, the political parties. They made it impossible for an ordinary person, no matter how good that person is, to contest election.
But we saw ordinary people won election in the last. But ordinary people won elections.
Circumstance. That's what I'm saying.
Ordinary people won elections.
Winning. We have said it here. One man sponsoring more than 20. When you abuse sponsored,
state funds.
You understand? We state is we. It's we.
We're not changing our attitude.
No, we have to change the attitude.
So who is going to enforce that? Because if there's no enforcement, people are not going to change attitude.
No, that's why I say circumstance change people. Because we have never had an experience of a revolution. A revolution can be spontaneous, can be, if I'm saying a revolution, I'm not saying revolution where, everybody know. You revolutionize a system, you understand, by yourself. You sit down, look at the problems, when the problem is becoming so complex that you cannot even run the system.
But all over the conscience of people.
Yeah, circumstance will come when people, even the elite themselves, just like how Dr. Sani cited an example, they have to sit down and they put things together.
Okay.
Because they know, they said you cannot rule anybody, you understand, apart from the people. Okay. You are there for the people. So when the people now resisted against you, then you know what it means.
Okay. I'm going to give you people 30 seconds each. Dr. Sani, the security situation we are today.
Nigeria government create another security organization dedicated and mandated to curb these menace, called maybe Counter-Terrorism Agency, an agency given that mandate to ensuring that the borders of Nigeria are protected and the counter-terrorism, both kinetic and non-kinetic aspect of countering terrorism. We must create an organization. It is high time for us to create, especially being among the first 10.
A matter of emergency?
It's as urgent as possible.
Okay.
The military is not their purview, the police is not their purview. All the security agencies currently, this is not their purview. They are just helping us to manage the situation, and therefore nobody can hold them responsible for action or inaction. So it is high time Nigerian government, I'm calling on Tinubu to make sure that he creates a counter-terrorism agency. Let him look as Obasanjo did when there was infraction into critical infrastructures in Nigeria, when he looked around and saw civil defense and created them. Today we have organizations like NESO. He can look at them, they are countering terrorism, he can give them that mandate, so that the cost of training and the cost of creating the organization shouldn't be much on the government, and they're already on ground with the military, and they can actually give a quick solution to solving this menace.
All right.
Yes,
Hassan Abdul, yeah.
Yes, my simple, let me tell you, this insurgency that we're talking about, in one way is politicized. The politicians created them for a purpose anyway. On the other hand, the business people created them just for a purpose too.
Okay, profit.
So it becomes a business.
Venture.
People venture into it and they make a lot of profit at the detriment of the nation. I think I will subscribe to his own thing, but this time around I wouldn't want to call it agency. Let it be a task force, whereby there are good generals. Samaritan, let me just use this word in Nigeria today, which you can now pick. They don't have money, they don't belong to this class. They are not politicians and nothing. Let President Tinubu sit down, pick these people. Many of them have retired, they are there in their homes. They have the idea, they have the capability. And let him have that commitment, that political way, that whatever they recommend, they would. In fact, let the committee, the task force become more powerful, even to some other sub-security outfit. Because we find out that this business involved all the securities personnel. They are behind many of them. They are being used, for all this kind of crisis. So, I mean violence. So I would have suggest let him set up a task force or an agency using the same old generals, old colonels, or any other person that you think, yes, is of use. Because this is purely a security affair.
Okay.
And we don't need any other thing like politicians, or any other thing like business people.
Okay.
This is purely...
It should be a general affair.
It should be a general affair.
Okay.
And I don't want to recommend, the specific areas, but let me be very frank with you. If we can have that task force that can enforce, and you are giving ultimate power, all this nonsense will end.
On a time frame.
Just like yesterday, Niger, some groups in Niger, they are ridiculing Nigerian government that they allow some rascals, so-called bandits, to be killing people in Zamfara and Katsina, while they arrested some of their kingsmen here. So this is really an affrontation. And we have to sit down and look at it.
All right. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, I'm afraid we just have to leave it here. I'm Dr. Sani Aliu, Corps Commander General, Neighborhood Enlightenment and Safety Organization, NESO, and also Hassan Abdul, a political analyst and journalist. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
All right. And from all of us here, it's bye for now, and do join us next time for another special package. My name is Medina Azaki.